Welcome to Crimson Guitars. Welcome to Come What May, the final episode in building Nebula 2. This guitar it's one of my favorite projects ever, and I thank you for coming along on this ride. For now though, what do we need to do? Burn it. Yay! What we need to do is wire her up, install the bridge, put a piezo system inside the bridge. We need to customize the bridge so everything is grounded properly. We need to make a custom box. More on that later. Test the electronics. We've got a little blend pot. We're putting an acoustophonic system with a non-Graphtec acoustic style saddle. I need to string her up. I need to check that the intonation's all working and play her and test her. And well, it's gonna be a fine, fun, long journey. I've been avoiding this. I don't want to finish this project. But I have to. Here we go. So first of all, I am going to wire all of this together externally. I've got batteries to situate. I've got acoustophonic PCB boards to situate. I have got the potentiometer to put in a completely different area of the guitar. And, well, I don't think a single wire that I've been provided here is long enough, nor are they actually shielded. And because of, the dreaded 60 hertz hum, or 50 hertz if you're in another part of the world, I want to have shielded cables. Now, before we get any further down this whole shebang of wiring, etc., I am not an expert in guitar wiring. I follow a diagram, and it tends to work. With regards to noise and electroacoustic instruments and all of this jazz, there are now pedals that effectively and completely cut out that 50 cycle, 60 cycle hum, and those things are awesome. So if I do end up with noise, that is the plan. But yeah. Let's see where we go. It's a blend pot. You've essentially got a stacked pot, and it's got a center to 10, so it just sits there. Now what we need to do is clip that thing off. Fret end cutters. Also need to join those two with a wire, join those two with a wire. One of those will go off to ground, and the other one will go to the output, and that's it. There are no volume controls. There are no tone controls. There's nothing. There is one pickup, the other pickup, a blend of the two. Simple. When it's done, yes! Simple! To do it, I don't know. I'm still not entirely sure if it's even possible. So what we've got here is a piezo system and all this jazz, and it's a very good one. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to make this, it's a switched jack. I don't know which is the switch and which isn't, we'll see. It's a switchcraft. I don't know if I have to fake these two volume controls internally. I don't know if I have to have all of that plugged in order to make it work. Do you know what we've got here? I'll tell you what we've got here. We've got a Simplicated system. It's really simple when finished. Damn complicated to do. Simplicated. I'm going to patent that word. I'm just gonna motor on. We can do it. So what I think we've got here that's your ground. That's easy. The shortest one is the tip. I think that's the one for the power to turn the battery on and off. And that's the sleeve, so that'll be the black bit coming out of the battery. So basically that's going to ground as well. I'm going to wire it as such, and we'll go from there. It would be useful if this was in color. That's the white, which goes to switch, tip, ring. And I know what those are. I think I know what those are on here. So yeah, let's go. It also turns out that that is just long enough from where I want to put the PCB board with it's got a micro potentiometer on there, whatever they're actually called. Let me know in the comments. That's going to be underneath the little natural sound hole there, so we can adjust the volume of the piezo without an external control. So permanently set it, semi-permanently set it. But that is just close enough to the jack for these to work. White is switch, Onwards. Nope. So I'd already put my purple lead onto the tip because that's where it would go if you weren't going through this board. That purple has to actually go into the board and then through the board. So everything goes through the board. Fine. We're there. It's cool. White, tip. We're good. It's fine. We're all right. Okay. I wonder how much of this I'm going to have to rewire later. Okay, the tip is in. By the way, blowing on solder to cool it down does not weaken a solder joint in any way, shape or form. I have it on very, very, very high authority. So seriously, it's just another thing to not worry about. The temperatures that we are dealing with are, yeah, it's just not an issue. Blue. No, white goes to switch, not tip. Blue goes to tip. Come on! Okay, so I think I've got those in the right place, and then it's simple switch, tip, and ring. And let's just plug and play. There we go. So next up, we've got magnetic, then volume, then ghost, then MIDI, then pin, then quick switch. If you would like to operate the Acoustophonic without a volume pot, you can install the wiring harness only and get acoustic output always at full volume. Solder the purple and yellow wires. This is a good instruction manual. The funny thing is this hasn't changed since I started using these 20 years ago. Solder the purple and yellow wires together, coil the black wire up and leave it unused, and you've got your harness in there. You don't have to do anything funny. It's done. Purple and yellow together. I can do purple and yellow. Here we go. So I'm going to take this little bit of wiring harness off the quick switch and the piezo volume control that came supplied because I don't need it. I mean, there's always an option at a later date to install more controls, but we're trying to simplify this guitar, aren't we? This is one of those very rare days when I'm not actually listening to something while I work. This requires full concentration. Yellow and purple, purple and yellow. Same thing. Solder the purple and yellow wires together. Okay, I've got purple, dark blue, and yellow. Okay. I'm also going to cut them off pretty dang short. That was a point of, if this has been messed up, you're going to have to do some stuff. Leave me alone. This is going to be a very boring video if you film every single little bit of it. Why am I whispering? To mess with you. Hey, yeah, you remember that yellow wire that I said if I cut this and it's not right, I'm going to have to mess about? Well, basically, I've been putting this off for a long time because I knew there was something wrong with what I had thought, and I couldn't see it, and it's taken me a couple of hours of doing this to figure out what the problem is. The problem is, I can't use a blend pot, not and use the acoustophonic system. Basically, what I've got is I've got magnetic going in through that out to the output. I've then got a piezo thing somewhere, there you go, going into here, but it's got no way to get through here without doubling up on one of the signals. I'm having to change the plan right at the last minute. We're going to have, well, there are several options, but we're probably going to have to end up with a dual pot, i.e. a stacked pot, two pots on top of each other, two volume controls, one for the magnetic, one for the piezo, and that will work exactly with the acoustophonic system as it is designed to do. I now need to phone the client. If it's any consolation, I now know exactly what I'm doing and exactly how it's going to go, and it's going to be great. So that's cool. Stacked volume pot is on order and due at some point today. That has left me bored with little to do. So I'm going to clear the workbench and move on to the grounding issue. There were a huge amount of very interesting comments in the last video. I'm going to use one of them. So the issue that we have here is I've got a wooden bridge with a bone saddle and a bone nut, and these things are not conductive. An option was to see how conductive our graphite nuts are and make a new nut with that material, if that would work, and essentially that would ground all of the strings together to a particular point. Another option is to use a ground wire from just a single one of the tailpiece post hexagonal things that I installed last week, jumping the gun somewhat. Essentially that will then go to the wiring and the strings would be grounded correctly. I don't actually know at this angle how deep I'm going to have to drill. And we've broken through. Success! I'm not going to rely on friction here. I've got a tiny little bit of metal, a tiny little hole. The chances are that if I just push the wire in and then hammer the Allen key head, the highly polished technical hardened steel hex bar, if I hammer that in, it could just push the wire through and we wouldn't be ideal. So I'm going to try and solder the ground wire to the end of the aforementioned hex bar. Another option, and something that I have never considered before, is to use the tuners. They are metallic already. They are relatively close together and it won't be too difficult to run wires in between each tuning key. Honestly, I've been doing this for at least 20 years, I'm sure now, I've lost count, and have never once considered using tuners as a grounding mechanism. It's incredible. So all of you that had that thought, you are far smarter than I am and should be applauded. Well done. Thank you. That sounded like I was being facetious. Seriously, awesome. Nervous? Yes. Mark the point that you want to drill at first so that you don't go slipping sideways or anywhere. And I am also aware that I don't want the chuck to hit the guitar in any way. I don't think I'm going to run that risk because the headstock has at an angle, but slowly does it. Haha. Okay, from here to here, from there to there. We need to connect to these two, but I don't like that angle, so I'm going to go from that one to that one, from that one to that one. Success. Those four are connected, and that's connected, and that's connected. We have all 6. Fantastic. There we go. They have arrived. I say they because I ordered 3 just in case. Stacked 500k pots. We should be okay. I had to make the wires a little bit longer, and I've put an extension on the pickup as well. I'm going to be installing the pot and twisting it in because I hardwired the nut into the guitar because I thought I was simplicating my life. The only thing we're not entirely sure about is the fact that I swapped the jack out, but that switch system in there should work. Let's test her out. Okay. We should get noise through soon. The lead is now in a vise, gently. The piezo is here. Yep, that volume is working. The piezo volume is working. So the controls are working, but there's a little bit more buzz than I would like with the magnetic, with the humbucker there. So, well, hopefully that's all sorted once it's in a system that is a little bit more protected. I think we need to start the installation process. Guess what time it is? I need to drill another hole in the guitar. Okay, jack is a 12mm hole. Perfect. This is a dead PC power supply that happens to come with this beautiful mess of cables. Sadly, this stuff appears to be plastic and is not conductive. But what it is going to do is hide the tape and make it look a little bit more attractive internally. And also much less likely to rattle, which is another consideration. Wherever possible, I will harvest stuff. And this is going to give me a good few years worth of both wire for guitar building and good quality wire at that, and this stuff, which I will find uses for. I need to hook this shielding up to the ground on the pot, and I'm going to do that by essentially wrapping bare wire around and soldering that on a little bit later. Well, that's just so pleasing. There we go. That'll do. I am so happy with how this looks. I know it's just internal. It's not going to be seen by anybody really trying to have a look, but scavenging, everybody, well worth your time. Never assume that everything is working as you want it to. This is a continuity tester. So essentially I've wrapped my ground wire around the tape. I'm touching the ground wire here and I'm touching the tape there. So essentially it's doing its job, and this is all hooked up to ground. Fantastic. We're doing the happy dance. Woohoo. You guys need to do the happy dance because I can't dance. So this jack socket is fantastic because it comes apart. So we can do that and feed it in from the inside. And that is going to involve that, a horrifically outdated jack pair of headphones, you know, I mean, isotunes. Gone fishing? So I need to tighten that, and there's some holes in there to help. I'm going to have to use some wire and attach that to the pot. Now the issue is attaching it to a solid core pot is not that easy, and it's not going to take solder. So I've had to drill a little hole in the top. So just to be sure, I'm actually going to solder the wire around itself. That's not good enough. I don't see any thread. Neither of the pots that I'd planned to use on this have functioned, have worked. I've ended up with a pot that didn't have the correct thread, but has two different knobs on it, which means that the threaded section is much shorter. I don't have enough room. So I can either take a nut, inlay it into the top so that it hits the brass, and I can twist the pot around and do all of that jazz, or I can do something a little bit more clever. Which is what I'm going to do. These are held in with nuts that essentially go inside the headstock. To the lathe, Jeeves. That round over, that's a little bit extreme. I'm going to make this so that the section that's on the top of the guitar is super thin and flat and sexy. Beautiful. Now, as I turn this on the guitar, it's going to scratch the hell out of the lacquer, so I am just taking the corners and the edges off and making it nice. I don't want to put a washer underneath it or twist the pot if I don't have to. This is actually turning into a little sculpture. It's rather fun. Time to drill another hole in the top for the piezo. Before I can drill that hole, I need to have a precise position, which means I'm going to put a couple of strings on, just the treble and bass, and see where we get with intonation. And, you know, there's a very, 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 very remote possibility that the guitar will implode. Woohoo! I'll make sure we're filming. It's a tad louder than I thought she would be. Ha! I'm debating whether we should just finish this episode here and leave it for another week. Tempted. Lots of fishing in this guitar. Lots of fishing. I am having fun. This is so fiddly. I want to get the piezo volume control in a particular place so that I can access it through here. But I've also got a load of wires and things connected. And woohoo! Ah! Okay. Hell yes. Okay. We're so nearly there. Battery clip. It's going on the neck. Wherever possible, do not trust double-sided tape. Especially not if it's got a heavy battery attached. So I'm screwing this battery clip to the side of the neck, which has not been an easy job. Aha! Success! No special tools needed. Okay, you're in, you're sorted. It's very awkward holding these springs in place, so put the screw, the bolt, through the top, and I'm just compressing one end of the spring, and essentially if I put that on the end of the bolt and tighten it, it should pull it all up and keep itself in place, which is going to be great. Success. Okay. I'm in love, people. I am in love. It is official. It is now very late. I'm just very quickly gonna see what happens here through the amp. Both volumes are down. That's my piezo. And this is the magnetic. Very little noise. So it's a magnetic pickup that also has this radius in it, which means that the magnets are further away from the strings than they would be otherwise. Okay. She has not imploded. I didn't think she would, but you know, some of you did. So here we are. Okay. I'm going to clear the bench off a little bit. I'm going to it's quite high at the nut. Let's cut the nut down. I'm going to snip off some string ends and stop teasing you. Pick her up, she comes to life. Okay, I've just made a decision, and some of you are going to love it, and some of you are not going to love it. For now, I'm going to put on the knobs that came with this instrument, and I'm going to just put them on and see what happens. I am going to come back. This video is already too long, or long enough. So I'm going to put these on for now. I'm going to mess around with the nut a little bit to get the action better, and we're going to see what she sounds like, and I'm going to put a pin in this. And there is going to be one more video that isn't technically in the build series, but is also technically in the build series, and that will be me making a custom satellite, UFO, something, space station, dual guitar knob of awesomeness. I had a plan for this knob from literally the day that this instrument was commissioned, and it was based on a single center to tent pot, a blend pot, and we've just recently had to change that. So frankly, what I had designed, which was awesome, isn't going to work again. So I'm going to leave it at here. Let's stop. And we've got another build video in the series. Woohoo! Give me a week or two. We haven't had nut slotting files in for a while, but they are due soon. So hold it down to the 3rd fret, and you want just a little bit of movement, and that's too much. Very important to stretch the strings as well. Gently on a guitar like that. So where we chopped the top off that to get it into the instrument, it's made it too short for this original control knob on the top, so I'm going to have to do some customizing. Nice. This is just the acoustic, unamplified. The strings are still going to stretch out. It's currently got nickel strings on it. I could set it up with heavier gauge strings. It's currently got 10s, and frankly, it's an acoustic guitar. And this whole time I've been calling it an electro-acoustic or whatever because, you know, slightly different construction, different bits and pieces going on. It's a bit of an amalgamation of jazz guitar and acoustic guitar and steel string and electric and all sorts of stuff. But it works. Hold on. I need a strap. I need a strap. Okay, all of this is being recorded just through my lapel mic. I'm not doing anything special because yeah, I'm not. We will get a demo. Hell, I might even film. Well, we'll see. But crikey, there's nothing to the guitar. It's incredibly lightweight. It's incredibly responsive. Very small body. A little neck heavy. Let's take that tuner off. Yeah, she's a little neck heavy. Not too bad. Not too bad. Frankly, I think if the jack was on that bottom quadrant there, we'd be perfectly fine. Let's turn on the amp. So this is a Reggiani amp, and I'm just going through clean. And the best thing is, this is with the magnetic pickup all the way off. And this is with the humbucker all the way on with multiple lights. I've got lights all over the place here. So this is just the piezo. I am so in love with this guitar. and just the magnetic. Could do with just being a tad higher. I think what I'm going to have to do is lower the piezo output a fraction. And so the goal here was to have a mini humbucker with a sort of warm, jazzy kind of a sound, not very bright, and we've got exactly that. It is up to the client. We might actually adjust this and make it a tad brighter. But then again, with the addition of the piezo, is a fan fret guitar. This is a multi-scat. I've only just realized. Can't believe I've finished her. If you have enjoyed this series, please click like and subscribe. And do not forget that I'm going to be coming back with another post-haste. My next build is going to be... I've got several next builds, but the next major series is going to be a hand tool only build. You've been asking for it for literal years. I am doing it now. I'm going to build a whole electric guitar with hand tools only. It's going to be a blast. It will be going live on Saturdays. And, well, I'm also doing another complication, another version of the 90-hour build that I'm very much looking forward to. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. You guys are amazing. I mean, yes, there's stuff to do, but the guitar's done. Pretty much. It's like, I don't really know how to feel. I love it. Let me know in the comments what you think. See you soon. Goodbye.